Sal Paolantonio here for a Football Friday, Sal Pal Friday edition here on 97.3 ESPN. And he joins us now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Sal, welcome back, my friend. How you been?
Pretty good, Mike. Pretty good. Looking forward to this weekend. It's going to be a very festive atmosphere down at the Link.
Sure will be, and I know you'll be on the sideline for the ESPN radio call of that game. You'll get a chance to see it up close and personal. I know you were up early this morning for the goal at Wingo up in South Philly. Had a energized crowd there, but I want to go back to last week, your piece on Sunday NFL Countdown, which I thought was excellent and just a great backstory and just really compelling about finding this guy, this high school coach, and the origin of this play, which we kind of saw a variation of again last night.
It really is a beautiful play. And, Mike, what's so interesting is, Mike, the quarterback is always open. I mean, they ran in high school, college, big games, Clemson, Super Bowl. Quarterback's always open. It's a neat little play, and it works like magic.
Yeah, and I don't know, as an Eagles fan watching that game last night, I'm seeing that play kind of materialize, and I can kind of see it happen. I'm like, dude, they're running the same play. How do you not know this? Like, what's the shelf life on a play like that, or is that something that these guys think will always work?
Well, they tried out Philly, too, against the Falcons.
Yeah.
With his variation. More of a direct snap to the quarterback instead of the running back. But, yeah, you wonder. You see the formation, you're like, okay, here it comes. But there's two misdirections to it.
Yeah.
So, when you have that many misdirections, you can do a lot of different things.
Sal, we know that the Eagles coming off that loss last week in Tampa. First, let's look at that game real fast and get your take on what we saw, what happened down there. Defensively, some breakdowns. They gave up the big play, not once but twice. So what did you see in that loss last week against Philly that might be concerning moving forward?
Oh, moving forward, concerning? I think the number one thing has to be, can they effectively run the football? You got to have balance on offense. And they just announced that Jay Ajayi is not playing in the game.
No Sproles either.
No Ajayi and no Sproles. This is a game where they're going to have to figure out how to have some balance on offense without their top running backs. I've always thought, Mike, and I think I've said this on your show a couple times, I think LeGarrette Blount was the biggest loss of the offseason. And I don't understand why they couldn't make room for him in the salary cap and figure out how to keep him. This team really misses LeGarrette Blount.
No Ajayi, as we mentioned, no Sproles as well. Corey Clement probably steps up and becomes that guy. But the return of Carson Wentz, and how much do you think they put on his plate this first game back? Do we see vintage, Wentz where the training wheels are off, or do they ease him back into this week?
No training wheels, baby. Good to go. Doug's not one of those guys that scale stuff back. If you're playing, I want everything available.
Yeah.
So I think, look, they've run the ball 51 times with 84 passes. So, to me, they got to find a way to find some balance on offense. Or it's, going to be like the rookie season for Carson Wentz, where he's just throwing the ball too much.
He's going to be throwing the ball to some interesting weapons, Sal, if you will. No Alshon Jeffrey, but Jordan Matthews is back, and I don't know what he's got left. The Patriots ended up having an injury settlement with him and let him go. Nelson Aguilar obviously is going to move from the slot to the outside. Is that a concern this week, or do you think that that Carson elevates those guys and that they'll be all right with the receivers they have? Because there is a lot of talk about receivers this week.
Yeah, no question. The bottom line is the first-year defensive coordinator for the Colts runs a strict zone. That's their defense. And he's got Malik Hooker back there, and sort of the center fielder at safety. Mm-hmm. They don't let anything by them. So they have allowed opposing quarterbacks in the last two games, the first against the year, to complete 73% of their passes, but they've only given up 2 touchdown passes, Mike. And that's very telling. That means that they allow you to do a lot of underneath stuff, and they force you to be patient down the field. And Carson Wentz is not a very patient player. He's a smart player, But I think they're going to try to bait him into running, bait him into moving outside the pocket. And then, who knows? I mean, the bottom line is this. We're just not going to know. When he suits up on Sunday, it'll be 9 months, 10 days since the surgery. And that recovery from that surgery is supposed to be 9 to 12 months.
Yeah.
So, we're only about 9 months in.
I got to be honest, I'm a little surprised. I'm surprised he's back this early. When I saw him in the training camp and moving around, I thought, all right, maybe I was off on this, but I still am a little surprised. But I agree with you that the training wheels will be off and we'll see Carson kind of doing everything. But
yes, yep, I agree.
The offensive line last week, Foles took and Peterson mentioned this. He's like, you saw it last week. Foles was taking some hits, so the line should be interesting this week. But I want to ask about the defense last week. They gave up the big plays. A lot of people getting on Mills this week. Do you find the defense to be a concern at this stage of the season?
I don't think so, Mike. I don't think so. I think the biggest concern on this team has to be whether they can control the football offensively. When you can do that, you can take a lot of pressure off a lot of elements of your football team.
Give us your take, Frank Reich, and how important he was to the Eagles and now being on the other sideline. And when you have these matchups where you have this familiarity, he obviously knows the Eagles' personnel very well. And this is a tricky game where you look at this Colts team. They weren't very good, but obviously Luck being out last year is part of the reason why they weren't. So this is kind of a tricky game with Reich being on the sideline here, I think, anyway.
Yeah, I do too, because Reich knows pretty much everything they do. He knows all the formations. And he's imparted that information, obviously, on his defensive coordinator, his young defensive players. And the Colts play a very conservative defense. They are going to make you beat them. They're not going to beat themselves. By the way, they have a rookie referee again this week. They had one last week, and they got one this week. That was a poorly officiated game last week. I don't do much with referees, but the Eagles are committing about 8.5 penalties a game, which is in the bottom third of the league. I think it's ranked 25th overall. It's way too many penalties. And that first half last week, the referees were just flag happy. That was a poorly refereed game. It was almost like they refereed two different games. A lot of flags in the first half, and then they pocketed in the second half. It's almost like, Mike, maybe Al Riveron, I'm just, totally speculating here, but maybe New York just said, okay, you guys got the job. You don't have to audition here. Flags away.
Yeah, no, you're right. The first half, they have like 1st and 40 at one point. I mean, they were just firing them out there consecutively. You're right, and that wasn't something that was brought up all that much, the penalties. But you're right, that first half it was kind of a factor. And I also said, Sal, I want to get your take on this. They played in the Super Bowl, Thursday Night Football, the through playoff game. I mean, everything has been a prime time major game, and this was just a regular Sunday 1 o'clock game down in Tampa. They just didn't seem like they had that energy that first half.
Oh, my, come on. If they covered Deshaun Jackson, then they'll give up that 75-yard bomb. It's a completely different game.
True. And then they had the missed tackle on Howard on the 75-yard. They gave up 2 75-yard passes in the same game. Look, I don't think there's a lot of reason for panic here, but you get into these games early on, and if you're 1 and 2, people start. This is Philly, Sal. People start to jump off the bus pretty quickly. All right, couple of things. I know you'll be doing the game for ESPN Radio. What are some of the keys that you're looking for Philly as they get Carson Wentz back?
Balance on offense, number one. 2, you're not going to give up big plays to Indianapolis. They don't really have a big play hitter. T.Y. Hilton's coming off a quad injury. I don't know how much we're even going to see of him. So keep the offense in front of you. Make Andrew Luck go down the field. Get a couple of turnovers. And don't turn the ball over, and don't have any stupid penalties. And keep control of the game. If you control a game like this, you'll win the game.
All right, we got, of course, the game right here, 97.3 ESPN.
Oh, cool! So you people can hear me on on your station when I'm doing a broadcast. That'll be fun.
We of course, we always and look, by the way, before I forget,
I will give a shout out to the station on Sunday.
That'll be sweet. Wait, before we go, let me remember for Eagles fans to fuel up game day at Dunkin' Donuts. DD Perks members score a medium hot coffee or iced coffee for $1 every Eagles game day. You go hot coffee or iced coffee, Sal?
Oh, hot coffee.
All right. Hot coffee.
1,000%.
I didn't know.
My wife is iced coffee. My wife is iced coffee. I'm hot coffee.
I didn't know because, the weather's pretty nice out there still if you're, cooling off on the way to the game and getting you ready. But it should be fun to see Wentz back out there. I'm looking forward to see what he brings to the table. A lot of injuries. We'll see with Alshon Jeffrey when he's going to be back and ready to go. What do you think of Jordan Matthews, by the way, coming back? You like, was that more because he knows the system or because he's the best guy out there?
Well, I think he was the best guy out there. They might have wanted Corey Coleman. I was told that they had no interest in Josh Gordon at all.
Interesting.
By the way, my routine, Mike, on Sunday mornings, you've heard this before, but we have new listeners, obviously, on this show every year. My routine is very simple. I leave my house in Moorestown. I go down to 130 to Pennsauken to the Dunkin' Donuts. Before I go across the Betsy Ross Bridge, I get 2 boxes of Dunkin' Donuts and a hot coffee, and I bring that 2 boxes of Dunkin' Donuts to the security guards at the parking lot at Lincoln Financial Field. If I don't bring those Dunkin' Donuts, then the whole day is ruined. Believe me.
And then in turn, you're blaming me.
Without a doubt. It's 1-800 Mike Gill.
All right, Sal. So you feeling good? Eagle win on Sunday. They get back in the win column with Carson Wentz?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good, Mike. I'm feeling good. I'm not feeling great. But I'm going to go 24-16, soft cover.
24, I like that. 24-16. 6.5 is the line, actually, for all you New Jersey residents out there.
It's a very, very tenuous cover, Mike. Very tenuous.
All right, Sal. We'll be listening on Sunday.
Be careful with the shekels out there, as we like to say.
All right, man. Well, have a good broadcast. We'll talk to you next week.